Well, when I dive into a project like the Land Cruiser I've been working on, every other project around me gets kind of put on the back burner and everything kind of falls apart around me because I put so much time into my project. And that holds true with the wife's 4runner. This thing has been needing a little bit of maintenance here and there over the last few months, and I've just been putting it off. It is time to get everything done on this thing. So with this lift, I've been having issues with the inner CV boots ripping and tearing and completely losing all their grease, so we're gonna fix that. So before I even pull this thing in the shop, it is filthy dirty. We're gonna give it a bath. It is the middle of winter here, which this winter we ain't got much snow, but the roads are filthy, the truck is filthy, so we are gonna scrub this thing before we pull it in the shop. With having a full 3-inch lift, the ribs on the inner CV boots are rubbing against each other, and eventually they just wear holes into the boot, and then you lose all your grease and your axle goes bad. So we want to catch this before the axle goes out. What we got is a set of CVJ silicone boots. These are the red ones I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen. I'm hoping these are going to solve this problem once and for all. These are a little bit more expensive than your OEM boots, but they are supposed to last way longer, so we're going to try that out. And then we got some leaking pod lights that we're just going to go ahead and replace, and blinkers to fix. So we got a few things to work over on this thing. All right, guys, this is where we are at. We got the old boot off. You can see there's a big old hole in it right there. It's about split in half. That's kind of dark. There, you can see right there. So she's falling apart. This was actually a OEM boot I did last time, and to do the boot stretch mod is what they call it. To basically, you want to try to separate these ribs out so they're not rubbing against each other. You got to take the old boot. That's why this was on there right there. Our new boot is not going to need that because it's got a smaller diameter. It's got a 1-inch diameter here. This smaller portion of the shaft right here is 1 inch. So we'll have to basically slide this over the raised section, and it's going to clamp down here. Now this is a much longer boot, you can see, so it's going to have to mount down here, but we want to get it on, we want to get it back on the 4runner first before we clamp anything, because we want to make sure that we get this thing clamped right to where these ribs aren't, you know, running into each other, and that's just going to cause the same problem. So this one actually comes with the adapter, or this little rubber piece here. A lot of these boots, or at least the other one I was looking at, you had to cut the stock one off here and then basically clamp it on. This one, this was from CVJ axles. This one already has that little adapter there, so it'll go right on there, and it comes with a whole thing of OEM Toyota grease. So like I said, these are a little bit more expensive. I think it was like $180 for the 2 boots. So what we got to do is get the boot onto the shaft here, and then we'll get this, I think it's called a tulip. We'll get that on, get the clip on, and then this goes on last. We'll just shove this whole tube of grease into there, smear it around, mix it around. Probably not even necessary to do that, but just get the grease in there, and then we'll get this outer section of the CV on, and then we can throw it back in. Pretty straightforward to replace these boots. All right, we're back on the ground. We kind of settled that suspension down just to get it at kind of what we're looking like for ride height. And what we want to see is a gap. You see that? There's a gap between all the ribs. This one, you know, they say 1/8 to 1/4. I might scoot that boot out just a little bit since we got the room just to open that gap up, but that's going to work plenty fine. We just want to make sure we have a gap there. So we are good to go on that. I'm going to pull, while we torque these axle nuts, I'm going to pull these tires back off, get that clamp on the inner boots tightened up, get these caps and everything on, and then we can move along to our next project. The next thing on the list is blinkers. I got these. These are from 4-Wheel Drive King. These are just an amber rock light. You can see there. These things, I've used these in the past for blinkers. They're super slim. You can mount them almost anywhere, and they're super, super bright. They work really, really good for blinkers, and they're LED. So if you don't have a LED resistor or a LED flasher, you're gonna have to do something, or you have a hyper flash. The 4runner already does have a LED specific relay or flash relay, so these are going to go on no problem. So how these blinkers are set up right now is I have a switchback shroud for the projector for inside of the headlight, and with the headlights on and the blinker on, it's not very bright at all. Honestly, you can't really see it. With the headlight off, it's plenty bright enough, but the headlight right around that blinker, it kind of drowns out the blinker. So what we're going to do is find a spot for these rock lights here. We're going to get these mounted up, and I'm just going to take the blinker out of the headlight since it's honestly not even functional really. These are going to be so much better. You can actually see when the blinker's on from the front. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are missing out on hood struts, I got these things on the website along with the LED lights up there. If you guys aren't familiar with the channel, these things are so nice. Like you just saw, we just pop the hood open, it rises by itself, and it's got the whole harness here. I put a switch here, you can turn it on and off, and this switch here automatically turns the light off with the hood closed and on when you open it. So super nice. Honestly, that little light really brightens it up in here. I mean, just look at the difference there, especially when it's dark out. Makes a huge difference. All right, the last thing we got to figure out is pod lights. Like I said, the original pod lights that are on it right now are completely, honestly, they suck. They are not bright at all, and they're leaking. I got these. These are from Oxbeam. These things look just like the Baja Designs. I think they're like the Scorpion Sport or something, but these are sweet looking lights. I am super excited for these. The really cool thing about these as well is they have interchangeable lenses. So if you don't like the yellow lens, there's a clear lens right here, and you can use those no problem. And these things come with a whole harness, everything. I mean, all the brackets, everything set up for you. These have the actual connectors, not just those cheap. I mean, a lot of these pod lights just come with the ends cut off. These actually have some really nice waterproof connectors on both sides. So this actually 4runner already has the harness in it. I'm not going to worry about swapping connectors and everything. These ones are just, you know, they just got the cheap little connectors there, so not a huge deal to me. These are gonna look so much better, and they're gonna be so much brighter. So I'm super stoked for these. I'm gonna throw, I think I like the yellow. I think I'm gonna leave the yellow. If I end up not liking it, or the wife doesn't like it, that's a cool thing about these lights, is you can swap them out. So Oxbeam actually is a new sponsor of the channel. Now, I've used their stuff in the past, and it's been good, but they have really stepped up their game lately with these pod lights. Also with the switch panels they have. For the FJ40, you guys know I bought that 6-gang switch panel. those things are so nice. They're so compact, and they have their own like relay box and fuse box. It makes wiring switches so easy. All you have to do is basically run power and ground into that main relay box, and then you have one cable from your switch panel to that relay box, and then you just run your wires from the relay box out to all your lights. It makes it so easy. These lights I'm stoked with. I'm not going to do the relay panel or the switch panel in the 4runner just because I only have 2 pod lights on it. I mean, I'm not going to go deck it out with a bunch of lights, but with the FJ40, I'm going to have quite a bit of lights for interior, you know, lights on the front, lights on the back. I figure a 6 gang panel is perfect for that thing. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, all I would really have to do is cut the connector off of this side. You can see that sealed connector right there. And I can just wire that into the harness that's on the truck, and it's just splice it right in, and then I'll have a sealed connection. So I think that's the plan. I already have the harness. I don't need this whole relay harness. So I'm gonna reuse those connectors. We're gonna wire these things in. And also, if you guys wanna check out these lights, like I said, these are pretty comparable to the Baja Designs lights, but these are half the price. You can't beat that. These are I think 139 for a full set with a harness, with the brackets, with everything you need. If you guys want to check these things out, I'll have everything linked down in the description box. You know what? Let's do a little before and after. I know it's in the shop and it's going to be kind of hard to see the actual brightness of these lights, but let's throw them on and just so you can get an idea. I mean, they look bright when you're, you know, staring at them, but honestly, with the headlights on and when I turn the pod lights on, you can't really tell they're even on. So there's kind of a before. Let's swap them out and then we'll check them out after. Honestly, the yellow is going to be the biggest thing you're going to notice. I think it's going to look good. All right, here's the test. We got one in already. I mean, just looking at it, it looks so much better. I thought how I made that bracket, I kind of turned it around so it'd bring the light out, and it's just sticking out a little bit on this one side. I honestly think it looks so much better than kind of way back in there. You can't even really see that light. And then the yellow, just the design looks way better. Let's turn it on and see how it looks with the light on. Oh wow, see what I mean? That is way brighter. You can't even barely see that white, you know, the white light versus the yellow. That is way brighter. And oh my gosh, you can see how much brighter that is. That is so much better. That you should be able to actually see that light when you have the headlights on. So I'm stoked with it. The connector worked out perfect. I just spliced that right in. So we are going to do the same thing over here. Get this light ripped out of here, throw that thing in the garbage, and throw a new aux beam light, and we'll be done with this 4runner. Well guys, that's about it for this one. We got this 4runner all ready to go. We got lights in it. We got axle boots that hopefully will last this time. Like I said, these things they're supposed to be way better. So I'm hoping that they actually last. Unlike those other OEMs we threw on, I've only had those on for like a year, maybe a year and a half, and they were all cracked out. So we are good to go on this thing. Honestly, my wife has been thinking she wants a newer 5th gen 4runner. So this thing, well, I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises, but I am looking for a 5th gen. I got to find a deal on it. You guys know me. I don't pay top dollar for anything. So the hard part is finding a good deal on one. Once I find one, this thing may go up for sale. It's probably not going to be right away. It'll probably be, I don't know, maybe in the spring or summer, but one of these days, I do want to get her a 5th gen and get rid of this thing. This thing has been amazing, like I said. I really haven't had any major issues with it other than, like I said, those CV axle boots, which should be cured now. Mechanically, this thing has been amazing. When I first got it, I kind of went through it all and fixed everything up. It's been perfect. I love these 3rd gens, but she wants a 5th gen. Maybe someday we'll get one. Well, either way, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Why don't you go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.